My thesis, I focus on three women in particular in Tolkien's works, Éowyn and Arwen from The Lord of the Rings, and Luthien from Beren and Luthien, which is a tale in Tolkien's Silmarillion, which is his broader mythology. And I focus a lot on looking at where the women derive their strengths and what their mythological or medieval kind of foremothers were, because Tolkien was a medieval scholar and he was very familiar with medieval romance and also mythology, especially Norse mythology. And when he set out to write The Lord of the Rings and create his mythology, he saw himself as creating a mythology for England. So I look at the way that the kind of archetypes that the women are based on from medieval romance and Greek and Norse mythology give them strength, but then also that in dialogue with The Lord of the Rings and his other stories being a product of the time that they were written in, which is, you know, during and after both World Wars and the Great Depression. So my central argument is essentially that although these women do find strengths through their various archetypal foremothers or through the connection in the case of Luthien to Tolkien's wife Edith and his relationship with her, that they ultimately end up in like a very domestic kind of piece that's like very post-war domestic ideal, as I say in the title, that was like heavily focused on, especially following World War II, especially like in the West. It was very much like a return to domesticity. The men are all back from fighting, women should go back to the home. So yeah, that's mainly what I focus on. And then like I said, with Luthien, I focus on her as kind of like a Marian figure, or like her as the woman in like medieval romance, because her story with Beren is very much like structured like a medieval romance, and then the ties to her, the ties between her and Tolkien's wife Edith. And then with Arwen, I focus on like the fact that her story is very similar to Luthien's, and then but how she kind of is put in kind of as a later addition to the text, and in a lot of ways as like an ideal partner for Aragorn to end up with as he rules as king in the piece that follows the War of the Ring. And then with Éowyn, I really focus on the shift from her being this really powerful shield maiden to her being, you know, like a domestic lady for Faramir after the war, which is what I talk about in the video.